Some cars are too dangerous to sell. Some are too rare to exist. And some were legally required to be destroyed, crushed, shredded, erased forever, but somehow they survived. From illegal supercars to secret prototypes that escaped the crusher, these are 10 cars that were supposed to be destroyed but weren't. And number 1? It caused a lawsuit with Ferrari itself. Let's begin. Number 10. Toyota Supra crash test cars. Crash test vehicles live short lives. They're built with one purpose: to die for data. In the 1990s, when the MK4 Supra was being tested, multiple cars were constructed purely to be smashed into barriers at high speed. Front impact, side impact, offset collision, rollover simulation. After that, most manufacturers destroy them immediately because structurally compromised vehicles are considered unsafe and legally complicated. But here's where things get interesting. There have long been rumours in enthusiast circles that a few Supra crash test chassis were quietly repaired instead of destroyed. Whether through internal transfers, auction misclassification, or loopholes in documentation, a handful allegedly survived. Now imagine this: a Supra that once folded against a concrete wall at 40 miles per hour, now restored, repainted, rebuilt. And today, MK4 Supras regularly sell for 6 figures, meaning a car that once existed only to be crushed could now be worth more than a brand new supercar. Number 9. Jaguar XJ220 prototypes. The Jaguar XJ220 was already controversial. Originally promised with a V12 and all-wheel drive, it entered production with a twin-turbo V6 and rear-wheel drive. Customers sued, expectations shattered. But before production began, Jaguar built multiple prototypes, test mules, experimental cars, some equipped with the original V12 configuration. These weren't finished vehicles, they weren't compliant, they weren't meant for public roads, and typically, when development ends, prototypes are dismantled to prevent liability. Yet several XJ220 prototypes survived. Some ended up in private collections, some were preserved due to historical importance. Machines that technically were never meant to be owned now sit behind velvet ropes. Number 8. Porsche 911 GT1 development cars. In the 1990s, Porsche wanted Le Mans dominance. To compete in the GT1 class, they needed road-legal versions of their race car. Enter the 911 GT1. But here's the truth. It wasn't really a 911. It was a race car wearing a license plate. During development, multiple early chassis were built strictly for testing. Extreme stress testing, track validation, aerodynamic experiments. These weren't customer cars, they were tools. And once development wrapped up, many were expected to be dismantled. But several survived, preserved, maintained, protected. And today, a Porsche 911 GT1 can sell for over $10 million, from near disposal to racing royalty. Number 7. Ferrari Enzo, the Malibu crash. In 2006, disaster struck in Malibu. A Ferrari Enzo traveling at extreme speed lost control. The car split in half. Literally. The front and rear sections separated violently. Photos spread across the internet. Everyone assumed it was over. Ferrari built only 400 Enzos. When one is destroyed like that, it usually becomes parts. Insurance payout, end of story. But this wasn't the end. The wreckage was purchased, shipped overseas and over years, rebuilt. Carbon fiber reconstructed, structural components repaired, drivetrain restored. Today, that Enzo exists again. A car that once looked like automotive death now drives under its own power. Number 6. Lamborghini Miura SVJ. The Miura changed the supercar world, but Lamborghini engineers pushed further. Inspired by the extreme Jota race project, which itself was destroyed in a crash, they created SVJ spec cars. These were experimental, unofficial, never part of standard production. Certain documentation suggested some configurations would be reverted or dismantled, yet a few survived in SVJ form. And today, they are among the rarest Lamborghinis ever built, born from a program that literally went up in flames. Number 5. Bugatti EB110 bankruptcy cars. In the early 1990s, Bugatti attempted a dramatic comeback. The EB110 was advanced beyond its time. Quad turbos, carbon chassis, all-wheel drive. But the company collapsed financially. The factory shut down. Inside, unfinished EB110s sat abandoned. Half-built chassis, loose panels, engines without homes. Normally, assets like this are liquidated or scrapped, but instead the remaining parts were acquired by specialists. Some cars were completed years later, meaning a handful of EB100s driving today were once abandoned skeletons in a bankrupt factory. Number 4. McLaren F1 LM test cars. The McLaren F1 LM was built to celebrate Le Mans victory. Only 5 customer cars were produced, but before those final 5 were delivered, development cars existed, prototype calibrations, aero testing units, early build examples. Manufacturers often dismantle development vehicles, especially when they contain experimental components. Yet certain early F1 LM related chassis survived internal decisions. And today, the McLaren F1 is already worth over $20 million. LM versions, even more, from potential scrap to auction legends. Number 3. Ford GT40. Test mules before Ford beat Ferrari in 1966. The GT40 program struggled. Early cars overheated, gearboxes failed, aerodynamics proved unstable. Several test mules were damaged or scrapped during development. At the time, they were just failed experiments. But when Ford finally achieved dominance at Le Mans, everything changed. The surviving early cars became historical artifacts, proof of the struggle before victory. Machines once considered disposable, now priceless. Number 2. Ferrari F50 crash test car. Crash test cars are not meant to survive. Ferrari crash tested an F50 to validate safety regulations. Once smashed, the car was expected to be destroyed permanently. That's standard industry practice. But instead of disappearing, it was quietly restored years later, rebuilt, reconstructed, preserved. A car that legally should have ended as scrap now exists as one of the most unusual F50s in the world. Number 1. Ferrari 458 Italia, the lawsuit car. Ferrari protects its brand aggressively. Throughout the years, heavily modified Ferraris have sparked controversy. In certain high-profile cases, Ferrari has taken legal action when owners drastically altered their vehicles. Wraps, wide-body kits, extreme modifications. There have been instances where Ferrari demanded restoration, removal from display, or action regarding trademark usage. Some modified 458 Italias were nearly erased from public spotlight, but many survived, radically customized, unapologetically loud. Cars Ferrari never envisioned leaving Maranello that way, yet they remain on the road. Proof that once a car is sold, control changes hands. Cars are destroyed for reasons: safety, liability, corporate collapse, brand protection. But sometimes, metal refuses to disappear, and when a car survives destruction, it gains something rare. A second life, a story, a myth. Because in the automotive world, the rarest cars aren't always the fastest. Sometimes, they're the ones that weren't supposed to exist at all.